Theme 6. The hands that built America were not always the hands that held its wealth. Think of a city. Downtown Chicago. You all went on City Jays last week. Think of a city. Think of a sprawling metropolis. And as you close your eyes and you think about this city, you're probably going to be thinking of skyscrapers. You're going to be thinking of large buildings. You're going to be thinking of feet pounding the pavement. It's important to understand that all of those things you're thinking about weren't built by rich people. Yes, rich people commissioned those things to be built, but the reality is rich people didn't build those things. Poor people built those things. The construction of any great monument, whether it's the idea of cities or as old as the pyramids of Egypt, poor people are building those. The hands that put those objects, those structures together, are the hands of poor people. And that same idea is present in the time period of industrialization. The people that did most of the tougher work, the people that were working 19, 20, sometimes 48 hours straight in a factory, the people that struggled, the people that lost arms or limbs or fingers or suffered psychological, emotional, economic damage, those were poor people. They were the ones that did the tougher work, and they didn't always receive most of the reward. A factory owner during the time period of industrialization has 1,000 workers in their factory. And those workers are working sometimes entire shifts to produce goods. And those goods can be exchanged for money. But the worker themselves doesn't get that money. It's the boss, the owner, that does. These owners are the ones who are developing wealth. These owners are the ones who are generating power, but they're doing it on the backs of working men and women. The reality is there are more of people who lost during the time period of industrialization than those who won. For every one factory owner that was a millionaire, there were 1,000, 2,000, sometimes even more than that, of those who were earning pitiable wages and who didn't get anything. Every immigrant that came across Ellis Island, they came in the boat, they saw the Statue of Liberty, those immigrants suffered immensely. And as a result of their suffering, they're not entitled to much of anything. They're not getting much of anything. When we look at the time period of industrialization, we realize that there are more people who are economically poor, economically disenfranchised, than those who are economically successful. This, of course, poses the fundamental issue. If America is a constitutional democracy, and America believes in the idea of fairness for all, constitutional equality, justice within the law, and everyone is equal in the eyes of the law, how then can it embrace an industrialist capitalist system where only the very, very few are successful and the majority of people are poor? Which is part of the reason why Theme 6 is so important. It forces America to kind of recognize or make a judgment call as to what is more important, constitutional fairness or economic empowerment or economic advancement. Which is part of the reason why in Theme 6, the hands that built America were not always the hands that held its wealth. We realized that the people who did most of the tougher work were not always the ones who received most of the reward, and that there were more of these people who lost than those who won. The question of fairness enters into the equation at this point.